Go ahead.
Great, thank you so much. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the November 18th meeting of the Office and Budget Committee for Community Board 1 in Queens. Thank you so much for joining. I want to acknowledge the committee members that are here. We have Tyrone, Gardner, Quinella Williams, Marie Torniali, Liz Arian, Tom Ryan, Amy Howe, Corinne Hayes, Dan Aliberti. I think that is.
Hi, everybody. That's Haynes, Haynes.
Did I say,
Thank
what did I
you.
say? I'm
You
sorry.
said Hayes,
Oh, I'm
Hayes.
sorry. Okay.
That's okay.
Yep. So again, I'd like to welcome you to the meeting. I just want to remind everyone, just like any board meeting in person, our online meetings as well we still follow the same procedures for meetings in terms of order. If you want to be recognized to speak, please raise your hand. If you need an accommodation with that, if you're unable to do that, then you can certainly ask for that, but want to make sure that we are following procedure and keeping order to the meeting. So I ask for your cooperation in that. Okay, I want to just go through the agenda for tonight. First, we're going to review the fiscal year 25 financial statements to see where we ended up for the year as of June 30th, as we have all those numbers. Then we are going to look at the FY26 budget and then talk about any OTPS needs that we may need to make adjustments for. I want to kind of go over the audits. So we've every year there's some kind of audit that happens on the community boards. So I want to just update you on the fiscal year 25 audit, which has concluded. The controller's report, it's on his website, but I also sent it out to all of you. So I hope you had a chance to read that. And also the fiscal year 26 one, which is currently in progress. New business, old business, and then we'll go into executive session and then adjourn. So I don't know if anyone had any questions to the agenda, but it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so what we're going to start off first is looking at where we ended up for the year. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can everybody see that? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So thanks to the board office for putting it into this format. You should have gotten this yesterday and then again today. At the top, you will see PS stands for Personnel Services, and you'll see what was budgeted, which was $238,557. Underneath that, you'll see the OTPS, that's other than personnel services. So that's for things like supplies, equipment, any contracts that we have, any vendors, that falls under other than personnel services. That was budgeted at $46,270. And the total budget is $284,827 when you combine those two. So those are the figures given to us by the city for our budget when the new fiscal year starts, when the budget is adopted. The next column is the actuals. Those are the actual expenses that we had for fiscal year 25. So you can see in personnel, our actual expenses were $207,215.53. Our OTPS was $69,468.02, totaling $276,683.55. So the column right next to that, which is the variance number, that is basically the difference, whether we were under the budgeted number or over the budgeted number. And then you can see what the actual percentage is. So a percentage, if a variance is 87%, that means that we spent 87% of what was budgeted. If it's 150%, it means we spent 150%, so more than was budgeted. 100% would be a exact even amount. So those are kind of the overall figures as well. And then as you go down where the yellow starts, you will see kind of a breakdown of the OTPS, the other than personnel services. So the first column is just the code that's used in the software that the city has. Everything has a code or a number. But you'll see under items, that's where you get the actual description of what that code is. I think next time we'll put those next to each other. We'll work on that, but this kind of gives you a sense for each of those items, what was budgeted, what was spent, what the difference was, and then the actual description of the item. If you kind of go down a bit to the BC 2000, that is the fund from the street festivals. I think if you remember, we learned that we sponsor a street festival each year, and we get a portion of the proceeds to that, and that goes into a fund. Total amount is, I think, somewhere in this document, 68,000 or something like that, 68,601. So that is the overall figures for fiscal year 25. So hopefully people got to review this before the meeting and wanted to see if you had any questions about it. And then we can, if we need clarification, we can ask the district manager to clarify or answer any questions about some of the items here. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Give you all a minute. Yes, Dan, I see you've raised your hand.
Yes. That 60 whatever $1,000 from the those event, is that one event, one street fair, or is that a bunch of them?
That's over the years what's accumulated. So each year, depending on how well the street fair does, money gets added to that. And that's money that's money that does roll over from year to year. That's not something that then will go back into the city budget.
But that's what's there now to be used, or that's what
yes,
has
that
been
can
gotten?
Be used. That can be used at any time.
Okay. Thank you.
That's it's separate than like the money that the city gives us. This is kind of, I guess, money we earned. Think of it as like earned revenue. I'm just taking questions from committee members. So other committee members who have questions. Amy.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Evie. I'm so sorry. I didn't catch what line item is that street fair?
So the code is 2000. You're not going to see it
Okay.
because we didn't spend it. But if
Okay.
you kind of look in the supporting documents that we got,
Yeah.
there's a little over 68,000 in that money.
So of that,
from the street fairs.
So of that, we've only spent 2175. Is that correct?
We can ask the district manager for if we spent any money this year of that fund. Florence, would you like to answer that?
Yes, we spent some money from that fund. We went over budget this year because we had to gather money for a consultant. So we had to pay Mark Moss with regard to one Long Island city where we weren't aware that we were going to have that extra payout. Also, we're not allowed to pay for food and preparation. So because that's our money raised, I used it for the Christmas event, the holiday food, which I will be using it again this year for. That money is basically meant for when there is a budget cut so that the employees of the office do not have to be fired.
Okay, let's see. Tyrone, I see you had a question.
Yeah, so it was really basically about what Florence just said about what we can use that fund for.
It can be used for anything. There's no restriction on it.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no restriction. It's literally revenue that comes in through that street festival. And we can use it at our discretion.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Amy, did you
Yeah,
have let me
follow-up
see, wait, let me
question.
see if there's someone else. Hold on. Let me see. Go ahead, Amy.
Yeah, so if we do have this number in the budget, why isn't it in the budgeted column?
Because the budgeted column is what we get from the city.
And
The
this is
city
a
budget.
separate fund?
This is a separate fund. Yeah, it's like earned revenue, basically. So that's why this special code was set up for that fund.
But isn't it also city funded?
No, it comes from the street festival.
Oh, I see. I got it. I got
It
it.
comes
Okay.
from the street
Got it.
festival.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you wouldn't see it in what the city gives us.
Got it.
With when the city adopts its budget every year, but we
Earned
do have
revenue.
it, and we have,
Okay.
so, and it does get rolled over from year to year because it is not
Right.
your city funding.
Thank you for the, I'm sorry for.
I have some questions about, in some areas we seem to have gone over quite a bit. So I'm just curious as to the contract professional services. We budgeted was 7,800. The actual was 21,000. So there's a separate line for George Janes. So I'm just curious as to that extra $13,000. Florence.
So I'd like to start with Code 2000. Code 2000, before I move into that, was set up by George Dellis because of the budget cuts with the City of New York. So the street festival was done in order to maintain the office should we have budget cuts. That money cannot be used for payroll. So that money sits in that code. And should there be a budget cut, like during COVID, where we had 3 budget cuts, if we would have needed to let anybody go, we would have used Code 2000 to buy the supplies for the office, and we would have used the city money to pay employees, thereby not having to release any employees during budget cuts. That is why Code 2000 has existed, and that's basically why it's always been used. Every so many years, we'll use a small amount of that money just to keep the code active, whether it's 900 or 400 or whatever it may be for some items for the office. But that code has always been a security blanket for the community board.
But there's no restriction.
You're not
we
allowed
can
to use it for payroll. That's not
fine,
true.
but we can use it for other items.
It can be used for supplies, yes.
But if we can't use it for payroll, then if there are budget cuts and we want to keep on staff, then how does that work then? That doesn't
Then
really.
what would happen is the city money in the budget would be moved into PS and supplies would be bought out of Code 2000. So all the money in Code 1000 would be elevated to payroll. And then what would happen is Code 2000 would be used to purchase.
Okay.
Now, as far as the overage, yes. As far as the overage that you're talking about, every year the City of New York gives us a certain amount of money in each code. We do not allocate how much money we receive, and we do not allocate which code it comes into. So when the money comes into the office, we then move the money around all year long. The money does not sit in one place. It's fluid. That code includes, I believe, 3 or 4 vendors. I gave you a green spreadsheet with the name of the vendors and the codes that they're used for. That sheet explains who's in that code and how much money they were paid.
Yeah, but my question is, that's a pretty big jump. So could you just give us a,
I just explained it. Let me follow up again. The city gives us the dollar
I understand,
amount.
Florence, my question is, was there a particular vendor that we had to pay more than we expected?
Mark
Not
Moss.
everybody has access to the documents.
I sent it to the entire board. You can scroll down
Okay,
and
all
click
right.
brief.
Okay, all right,
But Mark Moss, we had to pay more to Mark Moss because of committee meetings.
okay,
Mark Moss had one of the highest. Yes, absolutely.
okay. There are ways for us to have committee meetings using other methods as well if it's going to be a big expense.
Well,
and
the
still meet the
reason
guidelines and still meet the guidelines for broadcasting the meeting, but that's something that we can talk about later.
this was something under Marie's tenure that we had done with the Zoom. We have the Zoom
That's fine,
posted.
thank you. Got it, got it. I know, I'm just saying there's other possibilities for the future. If we're going to continue to have our committee meetings online and it's going to be a big expense, there's other ways that we can look to cut down on that expense if we need to.
Madam Chair, the problem was One Long Island City had so many meetings,
Thank you.
and the January meeting was extremely long.
Any other questions about this year's budget?
No, I was going to ask the question, but Florence cleared it up that the 68,000 was used is also can also be used to prevent people from being terminated. But then she cleared it up and said that no, it can be used for supplies. Yeah, because I was going to ask that question because I see there's a PS budgeted amount, and I was thinking that's for the staff, right,
That is
Florence?
for the, yes.
Yeah, okay. So she cleared it up for me. Thank you.
Do you want me to clarify further? If there
No,
were,
I got it, Florence. Thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
Other questions from committee members?
Are we on the page where, I'm sorry, I didn't know if anybody else had their hand up. Are we on the page where they have like, you have like a lot of money being spent from budget 1,000 on printing? I mean, a lot of different printing vendors. You have Bel Air printing three times, and you have some other printing. Is that like something different? And is it possible that you could just use one vendor for printing?
That's not how it works.
Okay, so how does it work?
Okay, so there are 3 lines for Bel Air because 3 separate times during the year I ordered envelopes from them. So each time there's a new document made, the order is put in, and there's a separate document to pay. The next time there's an order put in, there's a separate document made, and the payment, it's like cutting a check. So Bel Air is our printer, and I ordered envelopes 3 times.
So these are community board envelopes, right?
That's for our mailings.
Okay.
Okay, I wanted to just also look at the personnel line because we did have a big variance for that. And so we'll talk about that. I think during executive session, but there is still room there for personnel. So how much did we return back to the city?
Round numbers $8,000.
Okay.
Some of that money came from the city itself because they took money for telephone and technology, and they did not use all the money they allocated in their own code, which I have no access to.
But that wasn't $8,000.
As I stated, that was a part of it.
That was about $992. So the rest of it was money that we could have planned for. I actually thought we discussed at our meeting in March that everything would have been spent down.
It's not
So-
possible to spend everything down. We are one of the lowest, we're very low in the community of Queens for the money returned. Other boards return much more money than we do. We're very low compared to other boards. You can't get dangerously low because if
Okay.
anything falls through, then you don't have the funds.
Marie. Marie, do you want to, you had your hand raised?
Sorry. I'm asking a question about the PS. So am I correct in assuming, Florence, you did the budget of 238,557, or is that the city?
Community board offices have nothing to do with PS. Everything is done by the city of New York.
So they budget personnel services at 238,557.
That is correct.
Okay. Can you change that during the year, or you just show it as a loss? Because we only spent 207,215.
No, we didn't, because I took money out of it and moved it to spend it during the end of the year to pay for other bills because we had a busy year.
We
So
can,
what other bills? I'm sorry.
We had multiple meetings for One Long Island City. We had George
Oh.
Janes. So in order to move the money around so we could pay all the other things, some of the money was moved down to the budget, which is on the green sheet that I sent you.
Okay.
but Marie, in answer to your question, yes, we can add personnel expenses during the year.
Yes,
It's not-
that's not.
yeah.
Yes, and we could also have spent 238,557 on personnel costs.
Yes.
Correct? Okay. But we moved it instead because we needed it somewhere else. But I'm a little confused by that. If we returned $8,000 to the city,
We did.
so you understand what I'm asking here? If we had $8,000 returned to the city and we didn't spend all the personnel money, we moved it to OTPS because we needed it. I'm sorry, maybe I'm dense, but that's not making sense to me.
In some
not-
cases, money was allocated in a fund. For example, Schnepp Media did not charge us our full bill because they were being reallocated in their business model. So we paid less on the bill than we anticipated. Some of the funds had leftover money, which out of all of these funds, at the end, there was no way of seeing it. It added up to $8,000,
Yeah.
which is a small amount. Again, there are boards that give back $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. And then the money that we get in the budget next year remains exactly the same. So it's no hardship to the board if we go low, but have a cushion so that if something comes up, we're protected. We don't ever go on the other side of the scale.
Quinella.
Okay, so Florence, is there a head count connected to the budget that's for the PS budget? Like, do you have a certain amount of people that are connected to this budget, the PS
Yeah.
budget?
We have the office staff. We have 4 people, myself and 3 others.
Okay, so 4 people, and then the 4 people, you paid out 208,177. Is that what you're saying?
That's what it says, yes. I
Okay,
don't pay it out, my friend. The city of New York pays it out.
right, but
I have
You
no
muted-
control over the payroll.
You muted
No,
yourself
but-
accidentally.
oh, sorry. I'm not saying you take care of the budget. You are the district manager. So I mean, you are monitoring the 238,557. That's
Again,
what
the
I'm
answer is
asking.
no. The
But
city of
that's
New
what I'm
York-
asking.
The answer is no. The city of New York monitors that.
Right, but
I have no access to those numbers. I have no access to that money. No.
So basically
Okay.
what happens, Quinella, is the budget gets
No, I
adopted.
know all
Yeah.
of that. What I'm saying is that my question is related to she takes care of the budget because she is the person that's hiring people, right?
Yes, I hire people.
Right.
That is
So
correct.
that's what I mean about you taking care of the
I
budget.
didn't understand it by the way you asked your
Oh,
question.
okay. All right, no problem. Thank you. Thank you, Florence.
Any other questions or comments on fiscal year 25? No? Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing this. And let me just pull up the next item, which is not in the format, the spreadsheet format. So,
I think Liz has her hand up,
oh,
Evie.
I'm
sorry.
sorry, I
Sorry, Liz.
didn't unmute myself. Yeah, I just have a small question. Where in this form, or is it on this form, how much we paid George Janes? I see you have 10,000 allocated for it, but where is the amount that was paid to him? I'd like to know for future reference also.
It is the amount that was paid to him. That was the quote that we received and you approved.
Okay, it was 10,000 that he said would cover the cost of his services,
That is correct.
and that's the bill you received. Okay, thank you.
Okay, just give me a minute to pull up FY26. Again, it's not in the spreadsheet format, so, but we'll start with the personnel expenses. Actually, we'll start with, sorry, give me a minute.
Oh, this is. Shut myself off.
I want to make sure I'm pulling up the right. Right document. Okay. I think you can see. Okay, so this is the adopted budget for fiscal year 26. Hopefully after the meeting today, we can kind of get this into a similar spreadsheet so that when we meet next time, it can be laid out in a way where you can see things side by side and the budget to actuals in one document. But basically, again, you know, our personnel, what was budgeted in the city budget was $46,270 for OTPS. Personnel services in the adopted budget is $244,829. So those are really the two figures that we have. So things kind of go up a little because also there's increases that occur for the union employees as well. So you'll see the personnel, the city covers those increases in their budget. So those get added as well. So it goes up slightly. Amy, you have a question? You're on mute, Amy. You're on mute.
So sorry. I thought
It's okay.
I'm so sorry. All right, let's do this again. Can you explain the difference between the current modified budget line at 124 versus the committed, which I seem to understand that that would be the actual, right? So Florence, what's the definition of the current modified budget?
So the city moves the money, that's the current modified budget. So they take the money and put it where they want to put it. Once they modify the budget, that's the modified budget.
So we have $124,000 to spend on OTPS this year.
I'm guessing not.
That includes the code 2000 and the code 1001,
Okay.
which rolls over. 68,700 for round numbers, plus 1,000. So that's 69,
Yeah,
$70,000 that isn't for OTPS.
that includes 2,000.
Okay, but it's still over what the adopted budget is.
Mm-hmm.
If you send me questions in writing, I'll get it answered for you.
Is that because you requested more to go into the modified budget?
I do not request anything for the modified budget.
Okay. All right, so if we could find out why
We'll take care of that.
the adopted budget, I guess, unless the city's giving extra money for OTPS.
There's no extra money for OTPS.
Okay. When you do the subtraction, it's more than what's in the adopted budget. So,
It includes the money from the fair and the $1,000 I noted.
no, I understand that. I think it still ends up being more than what the adopted budget is. Okay, so any questions about, we can kind of go through the categories.
I believe I gave you a
this-
sheet, Evie, printed out with the explanation with the adopted budget. If you want to make reference to that in the packet I sent the board members, that may be helpful to you right now.
Okay.
It's the one that says fiscal year 26 adopted.
I see it. I
It
guess
gives the whole explanation.
My question is the variable funding for the OTI. Regarding the current modified budget, we still have room for personnel.
According to what I've discussed with fiscal and what I gave you, I only have $8,000 or $9,000 left over in personnel. You have to keep in mind, this is the beginning of the year, nobody's been paid yet.
Right, but there's projections that are done, payroll projections.
We have approximately
So-
$8,000 or $9,000 left over in personnel. I gave you a document which explains it.
Correct. I'm saying we still have room for more potential pay for people.
We can't hire somebody for $9,000.
Okay, Florence, thank you. That's not the only option. There's other options as well. For how that money can be disseminated to some of the office staff, which we can talk about later. Any other questions on this? Okay, I'll scroll down. This is just how much is in the street festival money. I think code 2000. That's in your packet. so people can see that. Let's see. Okay, OTPS needs. I know that some people had expressed some OTPS needs. So I wanted to give people an opportunity to talk about that. Quinella, I know you had some thoughts on that, just in terms of like for public outreach with your committee. Did you want to mention what you were thinking or hoping to be able to utilize?
I'm trying to because I know some of the things, I guess, Florence, you have a big supply of giveaways and things like that. Because from the last thing that we went to for Halloween, we gave out a lot of stuff. The street closing on Ditmars. So I'm assuming you have a lot of supplies just in case anything comes up to have giveaways for people.
The standard amount of supplies, yes.
Okay.
Could we get just an inventory of that and what they are? Like, do we have like 100 hand sanitizers? I don't know what we have. I think it might be helpful.
We really have to do an inventory. We don't, I'm giving them out haphazardly. I don't count out to each committee or person how many I give out. I have boxes with stuff in it. And as they're asked for, I've disseminating them, and I'm not keeping a markdown of how they're going down in number. It's extra work for the office staff, and we're usually pretty busy. It seems like
okay, then maybe
we
Quinella,
have
maybe you and I
stuff.
Sure,
We
maybe
have
we can
stuff.
go to the office and take a look and see what's there. So we actually
I'll
know
tell you what
what's
we
in
have.
there.
We have frisbees. We have hand sanitizer. We have pens.
Is it
I
possible
have
to get a list of items?
Or I'll make a list. Sure, my pleasure.
Okay,
My
thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Liz, I know we used George last year, which was like enormously helpful with the one LIC. Do you anticipate anything like, hard to know, but
For the next year, you're
Yeah.
asking? Yeah.
yeah.
Well, at the last meeting, I put out suggestion that that was an alternative for doing something about continuing the Hester Street study on Northern Boulevard, looking into it with, participation with our community group, not Board Twos. That's a possibility. The other was a request to look at comprehensive plan for Ravenswood, not just zoning. That these are very large projects that were spoken about that evening. And we're at the very, very beginning of this. You sent out the Hester Street study, so I'm hoping that they're looking at it to see what's entailed. So yes, there is a possibility that at some point, probably towards, mid to late year, part of the year, that we might have to, we might want to, not have to, but want to get the services of another consultant.
So for now, we're not sure.
Correct.
Okay. Well, it's November now, so.
Yeah, I think the committee has to really think about what it is that they want and also how much time they can devote to it, because there is a lot of time one has to put in, even though you hire somebody to do the work. it's very different. This would constitute a lot of meetings we would have to have with the consultant because they'll be devising a plan. They're not just reacting to a rezoning proposal. So it's a lot more effort on the committee's part. So everyone has to know what they're in for.
Okay, so I guess to be determined. Okay, Quinella, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just had one more question going back to the purchase orders. What is the transcriptions for 3,500 in code 100, Florence? You have a Letitia Romero.
Yes. During the year, all the minutes for the board have to be done. Staff ends up quitting. Nobody wants to do minutes. It's very difficult to hire a transcriptionist. So we hired this individual who does our minutes for us. It's much
So-
cheaper. It's much cheaper than hiring a part-time employee. There's no health insurance. There's no benefits. There's nothing involved. It's one fee. And so far, for the last 7 years, 6 years, it's been quite good.
Okay, the reason why I'm asking is because you were able to hire additional staff members recently, like within the last year, right? Year or two?
Yes, may I explain?
No, I know,
We
but
now
can I finish my question though?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
please do.
Sorry.
So my question is, if you were able to hire additional staff and this person's been working on transcripts for 8 years, wouldn't it be feasible if you gave the transcription to your additional staff that you hired and saved the
Absolutely not.
$3,500?
Absolutely not. May I explain why?
Okay.
The last 8 years, we did not have any DOT. We did not have any cannabis. Over the summer and up until September, we were averaging 30 DOT applications every month. We're averaging up to now, we're at 110 applications for OCM. The office is very busy. We're having more committee meetings than we've ever had. And the staff is still new. They're still training. Mistakes are still occurring. This person is solid. It's not putting the staff out of commission for well over 2 weeks. I have my staff in the office answering the phones, putting in 311 calls, doing constituent complaints. There's no benefit to taking one of the new staffers offline in order to do this monotonous work that everybody complains about when this woman is relatively good at it and it's a low-cost budget item.
Okay, I have another question. Are your staff, your new staff members, are they able to do overtime?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
well, they would only get overtime if they work over 40 hours a week,
No.
and they're not.
Okay, so they
No.
can actually do this transcription work on overtime.
No, they cannot get overtime. They're set hours. They
Okay,
have
thank
set
you.
hours. They're union workers at set hours. That's incorrect.
That's
They
not
can-
true. I'm a union
Yes,
worker and
it
I
is.
don't have set hours.
No, they're
No,
set
but-
hours. My staff is 20 hours for one person, 25 hours for the other person, 35 hours for the other person, and I'm set at 35, but I can work numerous hours. I get what they call flex time. My
Right.
office staff get what's called comp time. So if they work, let's say the 25-hour a week person works 30 hours a week, I am then forced to allow him to take 10 hours off of work time.
So they're not allowed to make any paid overtime,
No,
even though
ma'am.
they're in the union.
Yes, ma'am. In the way our office is set up, in the way the community boards are set up, we are not DOT, we are not DEP. We're set up differently.
Well, I
Okay.
have DC 37 employees, and
My
It's-
staff does not get overtime. Thank you.
overtime is over 40 hours a week. Additional hours or straight time is different than overtime. So, Quinella, what you're saying is, could they get a few extra hours a week?
Yes, past
It is
their,
permissible.
if you work 35 hours a week, or if you work 40 hours a week, and if I work 45 hours, can I get 5 hours paid overtime? That's my
My
question.
staff cannot get paid overtime. They get comp time. I explained that earlier.
Mhm.
All of the employees who are hired for the hours that are convenient for them to work. They don't want that extra time.
Okay, let's, thanks for your question, Quinella. I think.
I don't understand why
Florence, I'm
would I
sorry.
give an answer? You
Florence,
explain my answer.
Florence, you don't
I'm
have the floor.
exacting.
Florence, you don't have the floor right now. Thank you. Okay, any other question on the OTPS? Okay, all right. Let me just quickly scroll down. The other thing that I wanted to discuss with you is the two audits that have taken place or are taking place since I became chair. Community boards get audited every year. It's different subjects and topics. Last year, we were audited by the Controller's Office. This year, it is by EEPC. And so I just wanted to make people aware of that. I'll actually start with the one that we're currently in right now for fiscal year 26. Basically, we're looking at, policies and training for employees, them knowing their rights around equal opportunity, required trainings that are, required of employees, but also come to find out, chairpersons as well are required to do trainings as well. So they did their initial, report to us that we needed to respond to. We needed to provide documentation that we had provided employees with their, rights that they have as employees, making sure that they had done the required sexual harassment training that needs to take place, making sure that when we are hiring someone, we are using the appropriate language in our postings, also making sure that when we're hiring, we are doing it in a way that is open and non-discriminatory. So just wanted to let you know that that audit still is in process. A final determination was issued, and there were 2 remaining corrective action items that were required, and it revolved around training for chairpersons. So they are requiring chairpersons to do 3 trainings, but the city, we didn't have access to the city training portal in order to do it. This is kind of across the board at all community boards. So basically what's happened now is they've provided the ability for chairs to kind of log in and take the training as a result of this, because Borough Hall was very helpful in doing that. Because basically they're saying you have to do the training, but then we didn't have access to the trainings. So now that we have access to the trainings, chairs are able to do that. They did accept for me, I have to do training as part of my job as well. So they were willing to accept the certificate that I had for that as well. But I have one more that I need to do as well that is not given through my organization. So just kind of let you know about that one. There will be a final report that's issued probably in the spring, but they're continuing to kind of monitor. So that's the one that we're currently in right now. And there'll be a full report that people can read once that is out. Or if you wanted to see the initial letters or anything like that that we got from the director of audits, I'm happy to send those out to you as well if you'd like to see those. The other audit, the one that was last year, had to do with payroll, accrued leave, and those kind of end time sheets, right? So those were kind of the things that we had to talk about. And so there were a series of recommendations that the controller made for community boards in terms of managing employee excess annual leave, making sure that timesheets get signed, by the chairs and this process for doing that. Those were kind of like the two main things. So yeah, so we learn a lot through these processes because you know, there's no handbook that's necessarily out there as well to kind of explain all these things that need to happen and how it gets done. But the recommendations, which actually I'll share with you. Let me just pull up the right screen for that. Back. Screen. See if this is the right one. Nope. Have like multiple screens open. Here we go. Okay. So if you go to the controller's website, you can kind of see the full report and what they looked at. But it was basically, like I said, kind of looking at compliance, payroll, procurement, excess leave, and managing that. So the recommendations, sorry, I'm just going down. This is what the auditors are proposing. This is across the board, right? This isn't just for us necessarily, although they do break down by community board, what each community board needs to do. But you can kind of see them here. So I think we are doing what we need to do as the office budget committee, but basically it's all public information. So you can go in and take a look at that. And if you have any further questions, you can let me know. I'm happy to answer. So again, it's on the controller's website. You can see all the different audit reports that he does, but specifically the ones on community boards. Let me just see our agenda. Any questions about those two audits? Okay. Any new business or old business?
I just have one more question. I just find it very hard. So the $8,000 that is returned from the PS budget could not be used for overtime?
Could have been.
Okay.
We do not have overtime. There is no overtime. It could not have been used for overtime.
Extra hours.
It could not have been used for extra hours. There's no way to allocate that money.
Okay.
It could not be used. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Any other new business, old business? Okay, so we are going to go into executive session. I want to thank folks who have attended from the board and from the public. Can I just for formality, can I have a motion to go into executive session? Even though it's on the
Motion.
agenda. Okay, can I have a second? Okay.
Second.
Mhm, mhm.
All right. And with that, raise your hand if you agree. Or say aye.
May I please ask who made the first motion, Evie? I didn't get that on the notes.
Quinella.
No.
And Marie second, correct?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Harish. If you can kind of give me full control of the meeting. And
You have members of the public still on.
no, so anyone who is not on the committee should leave the meeting.
I'm able to stay in, correct? We're discussing payroll, right?
For a minute, sure. But then not for the full session.
Not for the full session, and why?
Florence?
The district managers,
Florence, or you don't have to come at all. Okay.
the district manager is supposed to be a part of this.
No, Florence.
Okay, I
Please.
won't
We
come.
went through
Thank you
this
very
already.
much. Thanks. Sure, no problem. Have a great night, everybody.
Let's see who else.
Evie, is everybody left? Good.
I believe everyone has left. So if you don't mind stopping the recording and the streaming, that would be
Okay, let me
great.
do that first.
Just for overtime?
Recording and the streaming, that would be
Okay, let me
great.
do that first.